All right, this is it. My name's Jeff K, and you're listening to episode 456 of the world-famous West Virginia Surf Report podcast. First time I hit record on this thing, which was just seconds ago, it sounded like an aircraft carrier went by outside. I was looking at, you can see as you record the sound waves on in the software. It was just like big, thick lines. You can tell it was picking up on the microphone. I don't know what went by. I think it might have been an aircraft carrier went down our street. That's pretty rare. It doesn't happen very often. Anyway, I have random notes for you guys today. I don't have any major topics, just a whole bunch of smaller topics. Sometimes those are fun, and hopefully this will be one of them. I do have a little follow-ups from the last episode. Not much, but I have a little bit of information. I told you guys about all the car troubles we were having, all the insanity. We had 2 cars break down on us. And one of them was stuck. One of them was abandoned in State College, Pennsylvania. Well, that car is now back. It's now back it's in Scranton as we speak. And the guy told us in State College it would be $2,500. It would be $2,500 to have it fixed. I don't know what the hell. It will be $2,500 to have it fixed. All right, so our local guy, the guy that runs, that owns the garage that we use, he goes, "There's nothing wrong with that car. I just looked at it, So there's all this conflict. So he went and grabbed it, and he sent somebody to go get it. And he looked at it, and he said, "I don't see anything wrong with this thing." He goes, "I'll look at it closer." But I got in it, and I drove it around. I looked at the engine. I don't see anything. I just don't see any major problems with it. So if he can fix that thing, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. If he can fix that thing for $100, a couple $100 or something, whatever's wrong with it, like he says, it might just be a bad spark plug. He goes, "These guys are trying to rip you off." It's like, I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. We haven't heard from him. He said he's going to put it on. He's going to put it on a lift and give it really look at it closely and everything. But the first look, at first glance, he says there's nothing wrong with it, nothing major. I'm hoping that's true. So I'll keep you updated on that. If he fixes this thing for $200, and these guys down in State College wanted to charge my younger son $2,500, oh my God, it irritates me. That's infuriates me, makes my blood boil. But anyway. That shit happens all the time. I know it happens all the time. People try to sell you stuff you don't need, especially in that kind of industry. It's infuriating. I don't know anything about cars. I take advantage of people like me. I mean, in this case, it wasn't me, but it could have easily been me. Very, very upset. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you updated. I have a few random notes here. Toney and I. Well, Tony's got the fever. She went to Pittsburgh on Saturday, and she rented a car to drive over there because we're down cars. We don't have cars anymore. 2 of our cars are down, 2 out of 4. So she rented a car and went to Pittsburgh to help my son the younger boy get set up down there or out there. And she loved it, man. She loved driving a brand new car with all the fancy bells and whistles. The thing has a screen in it like size of like a computer monitor. It's huge, and it's got all the fancy stuff, and it's solid, and it's, you It's just a good car, good quiet. It's real quiet when you're driving it. Anyway, now she's got the fever. She wants to buy a new car, or she wants to buy a newish car. Let's put it that way. So we decided to go out on Sunday and look at some cars because all the car dealerships are closed on Sunday. It's the best time to go. You don't have some salesman up your ass. Beautiful day, isn't it? How you folks doing? This is a beautiful day. That kind of crap. And then they basically kidnap you. They won't let you go until you sign some papers. So we don't need all that. We just wanted to go look and see what they had. So we went to this place down in Wilkes-Barre. It has like a gigantic collection of used cars, and they didn't have any prices on them. Like, what the hell's that? That's no fun. I mean, they had a whole bunch of used cars, and some of them had low mileage. It'd be perfect, But we have no idea. You go on their website. Some of them are on there, but most of them aren't. It's like, what about this black Camry over here? It's not on there, so I don't know how much it is. I have no idea. Nothing has prices on it. What kind of crazy bullshit's that? Why would you have a car lot and not have the prices posted? Because if they think, we'll just drive everybody to the salesman. If they want to buy something, they're going to have to go see a salesman. And at that point, we'll kidnap them. We won't let them out until we won't let them see sunlight again until they sign the papers. Sign these papers. So I don't know. That was very unsatisfactory. And that started raining. We got soaked. Beautiful. I mean, just a well thought out day, But then I said, let's go to Cracker Barrel. We're down here. We're in the vicinity of the barrel. We need to go. Toney surprisingly said, "Okay, let's do it." She always says, for some reason she's usually like, "Nah," I'm always up with the crackpot ideas. It's not crackpot. That's a good place to go, for lunch. So we went over there, and I had the Cracker Barrel sampler. I had 2 entrees. You can have 2 or 3. See, I'm not the full glutton. I only got the 2. I got the meatloaf, and I got the chicken and dumplings. I got mashed potatoes and gravy, green beans, and macaroni and cheese, and sweet tea, right? That's what I got. And it was fantastic. And however, there was a small problem. The iced tea, the sweet tea, had almost no ice in it, and it was warm. It was like fresh brewed, I guess, which is good. That's a good thing, right? But it had no ice in it. The stuff was warm. It was lukewarm. I was very annoyed. So the second time, I drank it, but it wasn't very good. I wasn't getting the full tea experience. It was tainted by lack of ice. When we're talking iced tea, I mean it's complete. You have free refills. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not like one of those deals where don't put any ice in it because I want to get more drink out of it. There's a bottomless pit of drink. Fill the whole thing up with ice. Fill the whole cup up with ice, and then pour iced tea sweet tea over it. Right. And then if I want more, I can get more. It's got to be ice cold. It's iced. It's iced tea. It should have ice in it. Call me a radical. But anyway, that shit was unsatisfactory. And then the second one, I said, "Hey, could you put a little bit more ice in it this time? I want to refill. Could you put a little bit?" It was exactly the same. I don't know if they're they're rationing ice or something. What are we in Europe? Fill that bitch up with ices. Just put as many ices in there that'll fit in that thing. Put it above the rim. I don't care. It's got to be cold. But anyway, everything was good except for that. I was irritated. And also, the second glass of iced tea took a long time. It was a long, long time. Like, I was like, screw this, let's just go, God. And then the guy brings it with the check. I'm like, and it's hot. It's like, I don't know. Somebody needs to go back to ice school. Somebody needs to go back to, or iced tea school. Needs to go back to tea school. That's what it is. When you go to Cracker Barrel or any of those home cooking places, one of the important things, I'm not going to say it's the most important thing, but one of the important things is to keep the iced tea glass full and to keep the iced tea iced, right? If you let my iced tea glass go empty, I don't know. There's an issue there. You need to go back to iced tea school. Anyway, very upset, very, very frustrated. And that stupid Motor World. That's where we went. Motor World. They don't have any prices on them. Why? What is the point? Why would you do such a thing? I don't know. I think the older boy's going to buy a new car too. There's going to be 2 new cars in the family. Toney wants one too. I don't know. We all got the fever except me. I like my little Honda SUV. That thing, I'm perfectly fine with it. The other three members of the family got the fever, the new car fever. You ever watch this show? It's a YouTube show called The Proper People. It's like one of those. It's these 2 guys. I don't know how I found this, but I'm subscribed to their channel. I don't subscribe to too many channels on there. So maybe like less than 10. And because I'm not a big YouTuber, but it's these 2 guys that explore abandoned places. There's a whole bunch of people that do that on there. But these guys, these guys are better. They're not sensationalist, and they're not shouting and doing a bunch of ridiculous shit. They just seem like normal, level-headed people that know a little bit about the history of the place. And, so I watched one last night where they went into this gigantic general hospital in Los Angeles. It was fascinating. I love that kind of stuff, and I don't want to do it myself because I'm a big old wuss. I'm not, especially those places where you have to crawl through like some kind of tunnel or something where you're in, like if you go into like some kind of like a cave or something. No way, count me out, mister. Or some kind of mine, like an abandoned mine or something. No way, I'm not doing that. So a lot of this stuff, it's fun for me to sit here in the bunker with a very icy drink of some sort or a coffee, like I'm drinking right now. Let me take a hit off this bitch. Hang on. Anyway, and watch somebody else take all the risk. It's good stuff. Are you familiar with this show, The Proper People? I don't know where they came up with that title. It's these 2 guys, and they were in this hospital. It's been abandoned. I guess it ran from the 30s to the 90s, and then there was like some kind of earthquake that damaged the place, and they could never reopen it because there was like they went in there and they found all kinds of issues when they were trying to fix the damage from the earthquake. They found that it's not up to code and shit. So it's this massive, huge building. It's like Art Deco, beautiful. It's just sitting there. Wild. Those guys were in like surgery rooms, and it's unbelievable. I love that kind of stuff. Except I don't want to do it. I want somebody else to do it for me. I'll do it if it's like if I don't have to crawl through a hole of some sort or squeeze through. I remember, you ever go on one of those like cavern tours, and they always have something called Fat Man Squeeze. I used to think that was funny. I'd get wedged in there now. When I was a kid, they go, and next is the Fat Man Squeeze. You just have to slide through there. Shit. I wouldn't be able to get in there. They'd have to get the jaws of life in there or something. I'd get wedged. Anyway, it's better from the bunker. That's what I say. I let these other guys do these explorations, and I'll watch them. Let's see what else I got listed. Toney showed me Toney showed me something that she has on her phone. She picked up somewhere. It's a guide. It's an illustrated guide on how to pick a proper watermelon. And she has it saved to her phone. It has all these tips on how to pick a proper watermelon at the grocery store. And I tell you what, she's using that thing. She's bought 2 watermelons since she got it. The watermelon guide. She's hit a home run with both of them. They've been very good. Did you hear that? Can you hear what is going on? Are we under attack? There's like cars, like vehicles vibrating the whole house out there. Are we under attack? Is this how it ends? Anyway, she's got the watermelon guide, and she's got 2 of them since she procured this guide, and it's been good. The first one especially. It's like one of the best watermelons I've ever had. And by the way, do you put salt on watermelon? I do. I think where I come from, and that's Dunbar, West Virginia, baby. We put salt on our watermelon. That's a fantastic combination. People up here, they're like, what? What are you talking about? What kind of insane? Say, listen to me, you kielbasa eater. I don't know what the hell you're judging me? This place is like a foreign country. It's a bizarre land, a bizarro world. And you're judging me because I put salt on my watermelon? Also, people like say stuff about, you put salt on your salad? So just buzz off. I don't need a constant commentary on my lunch. God. Yes, is that bizarre? That I put like a little bit of salt on my salad. Is that bizarre? I don't know. I don't ever even thought about it. But it's good on watermelon. I'm telling you, if you haven't done it, do it. You won't go back. But anyway, she's used it. I'll see if I can get that. I'll post it on the website. If she'll part with it, or she won't. If she doesn't want, I don't know. She wants to keep this to herself. I don't know. But she has a guide on how to pick the proper watermelon, and that thing's accurate. Either that, or she got lucky 2 times in a row. I'm thinking that she's onto something. Because we've gotten some bad watermelons. You split those things open, and it's almost white inside. You know what I mean? Those things suck. They have no taste, But the ones that she's gotten with the guide, they're like, they're red. They're succulent. It's a succulent watermelon. Anyway, let's see what else I got listed here. I think I'm going to go up with the older boy, maybe as soon as next week, to the Woodstock Museum. It's not far from us. It's a little north of here. I've never been there, and it's supposed to be a lot of fun. It's the grounds of the where the Woodstock Festival, the Woodstock concert was back in 1969. Oh, and you know how much it cost to get in? 1969. But anyway, you get to go through the museum, and they take you out on golf carts and show you stuff. Like, this is where the stage is. This is where where the grounds are. They take you around the grounds and show you. That sounds like fun. And the museum's supposed to be really good. I know a couple people that have been to it, and they rave about it. I think we're going to do that. I think I'm going to take a day off, maybe next week. Head on up to the Woodstock Museum. We've been talking about doing this. Have any of you guys been to that? I think I'm going to do it next week. And speaking of music, I was talking to Toney the other day, and she really couldn't give 2 shits about it, but I was pontificating again. There's a lot of pontificating, and everybody's like, what? Does this guy ever stop talking? And I'm considered to be quiet. People at work people think I'm quiet, right? They do. They think I'm kind of quiet, and and at home, or when I'm talking to Steve or somebody, they're like, "Does this guy ever stop talking?" Going on and on and on about stupid shit. But anyway, I was talking to Toney the other day about there's 2 bands that, I've been around a long time. I'm 62, right? And I lived through a lot of music history. And there are two bands that have inexplicably, over the recent history, risen in stature. I think they are held in too high of. They're people think too highly of them. I think that their reputation or their stature is too elevated. And I don't understand what happened. I mean, I have my theories, but there's a whole bunch of bands that I know where their place is in music history. I know where it is, and these guys, these two bands, have exceeded that. Not with new music. I mean, they're not even really together anymore. I mean, there might be some kind of semblance of them, but they're not having new hits or anything like that. I don't even know if they're making new music, but you know what I'm saying. It's their old catalog that has now their stature has risen. They've got above their station somehow, and I don't know why. Okay, you ready for this? Journey is one of them. Journey was an arena rock band. The 70s and 80s. They're in the same category in my mind as Foreigner and Kansas, REO Speedwagon, those kinds of bands. An arena rock band, and they had some radio hits like those other bands. Styx, they're in the same category as Styx, in my opinion. And they always were. They were always in that category. And now, for whatever reason, they're far above those other bands that I just mentioned. I don't know why. I don't know how it happened. It's not like they had a whole bunch of more hits. They didn't write a whole bunch of new albums. And, I mean, Steve Perry, the lead singer, didn't even perform with. They haven't performed with them for I don't know how many years, decades. Maybe that's it. Maybe if he'd have stayed with them, they'd have just continued to be Foreigner. Well, I don't know what the hell. How did that happen? People think of them as like rock royalty. Journey. Bugs me. I don't know why. It irritates me. For some reason. I don't know why. And the next one, you guys are probably going to disagree with me on this, but I know I'm right. Queen. Have you ever... Queen... I mean, I don't hate Queen. I don't hate Journey either. I don't hate either one of these bands. I just think Queen's a borderline novelty band. I don't consider them... I mean, you try to sit and listen to one of their albums, like their studio albums. Like, what the hell's this? What the hell's this crap? They had some singles. They had hits. And they were capable of rocking it up a little bit sometimes. But they were... seriously, they were another arena rock. They had a little bit more cachet than Journey did, just because they had Freddie Mercury, one of the great front men. But they weren't. I mean, they have novelty songs, Bohemian Rhapsody and all that shit. The hell's that? And all that. What I don't know. All their hits. They're all novelty songs. Most of them. And I don't know. I think it might have been that movie about them. Everything changed. Now you see lists of like the greatest bands of all time. Queen is on there. What? Are you serious? I laugh at the notion. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. I saw them in West Virginia back when they came there. I don't know, it was like the first rock show at the new Civic Center. They wanted to get somebody big in there. Somehow they coaxed Queen to come in there. I think they were trying to get Elton John. Elton wouldn't do it, or so. I don't know, something fell through, what I heard. And then they got Queen in there, and I went to that show. I mean, I don't dislike Queen. I mean, it's not that I hate them or anything like that. It's just their way. They're considered to be like up there with like the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and all the like the greatest bands of all time. Queen. Woo, that's solid. But anyway. But what do you think about that? How did that happen? How did they rise in stature? They weren't. I know. I was around. I was paying attention. This is something new. This is over the last 10, 15 years. They've risen in stature. Anyway, Tony's like, whatever. All right, okay. You know another thing that irritates me? I heard somebody say the other day. I had to bring my dog to the vet. I had to bring my dog to the vet. What do you think about that? It's take, right? It's not bring. I had to bring my dog to the vet. It should be, I had to take my dog to the vet. You bring something to someplace you're already there. Right? I don't know how to explain it, but I'm right. And I hear this all the time, Will you bring me, like I'm sitting in a chair, will you bring me the remote? That's how you use bring. You don't bring your car to the garage. You take your car to the garage. If you're at the garage, can you say, you call and say, hey, I forgot my wallet. Can you bring me my wallet so I can pay you this $2,500 bill where there's bending me over a couch? Can you do that for me, please? You don't bring, and I hear that all the time. I don't know, it's got mixed up. People are mixing up the words. I think I'm losing my mind. I might be losing my mind. And finally on my list, I got this is long. This is gonna be long, but I'm watching the show Blacklist, which I love. I'm already in the 4th season. There's 10 seasons, powering through. Sometimes I watch 3 in an evening. I come home from work and I watch 3 of them, or sometimes. I mean, I usually watch at least one a night, and I'm already in the 4th season. Take another hit off this. It's really good. It's well done. The stories are like, who came up with this? Who came up with this premise? This is bizarre, and I love it. But it's well written, well acted. It's a good show. It's a solid show. I don't understand those shows though that from that era where it's real dark. Where the sets are real dark all the time. But anyway, I don't want to get off on some tangent. But it's a really good show. It reminds me of 24 a little bit. I think it's actually better than 24. But I used to love 24 when it was on. And but the premise of it, that thing was crazy when you think about it. So I don't know if you ever watched 24, but it was supposedly 24 hours in one day. It's like a whole season was one day. Right? So there's 24 episodes in a season. Each is 1 hour long, and it's supposed to add up. When you add up the whole season, it's one day, right? It's insanity. I mean, it's pure insanity. Like between 10 a.m. Jack, what's his name? What's that guy's name? Jack Bauer. All right. Kiefer Sutherland, he played the character Jack Bauer, right? He was the main character in that thing. So between 10 a.m., starting at 10 a.m. during this 24-hour day, this 24 hours, he went undercover. He's undercover, and he gets himself addicted to heroin, right? He becomes a heroin addict at 10 a.m., right? At 1 in the afternoon, he goes through withdrawals. He goes cold turkey. By 1 in the afternoon, he's a heroin addict between 10 and 1. He kicks at cold turkey, has a terrible time of it. It's just terrible because he's been an addict for all of 3 hours at this point. And then at 2 p.m., 2 in the afternoon, after kicking his 3-hour heroin addiction, he's hanging from a helicopter over Los Angeles, you know. And then, and then by that evening, he's like torturing somebody, and so, he's got somebody hung upside down, in some kind of warehouse. Very dark set, just like everything's in darkness on these shows. I don't understand that. But anyway, that show was crazy, but it was like one of the most bingeable. That is one of the most bingeable shows I've ever seen in my life. 24. I watched them on. I think the early ones. I used to get discs back when I used to get Netflix DVDs in the mail. In the little red envelope. But then I know they're on Netflix or something. Those things are. I mean, every episode, you're like, I gotta watch one more. Next thing you know, it's like you watched 5 of them or something. That is one of the most bingeable. That thing was great. It was great. It was entertaining, but it was ludicrous. Blacklist is better, but it is also ludicrous. But it's fun as shit to watch, and it's really good. So if you're looking for something to watch, there's 10 seasons of it. Fantastic. I'm obsessed with it. I'm watching that shit every day of my life. I didn't watch it last night. The first time in a long time. But generally every day I watch that show. And it's really good. So I do have some calls. I had 2 calls. I don't know, maybe we can I think my brother called, Tim. My brother Tim called, and he got cut off. Maybe Zip can make it sound like one call, but it was 2 calls. But anyway, I'll play that here. This is my brother Tim right here.
Hey, Jeff, this is Tim. I just got done listening to 453. You were talking about the guy eating the sandwich. At first, I didn't really understand what you was talking about. I had to go back and give a second listen to make sure I was understanding it proper. And once I understood what you were saying, it really doesn't surprise me, but it does concern me. There's a guy at my job, and he brings mashed potatoes in a gallon-size Ziploc storage bag, like a storage bag, gallon-size storage bag filled with mashed potatoes. And it looks like maybe they might even be instant potatoes that he mixed up right there in the bag. It's disgusting. And I think that there's something wrong with this younger generation. I don't want to sound like an old man, but I'm 61 years old. And I've never seen the level of ridiculousness that this younger generation is operating at. When I go to work every day, literally almost every day without exception, I see some of these young people that they're hiring that can barely function, that can barely do even some of the simplest things. And the mashed potatoes is just one example. I don't know where things went wrong, but obviously they're not being held to account. If they cannot make a sandwich, they cannot properly put mashed potatoes in a proper storage container with a covered lid, but they're resorting to putting them in plastic bags. I don't understand this. And yeah, it makes me mad. It makes me mad that this is where we've come. And I got, as you know, a 23-year-old son. And he's not inept. He knows better than to put mashed potatoes in a bag. And I don't understand it. And it makes me mad to see this younger generation coming up that has to be told literally everything, because they have not been taught at home or in school or just by living day to day and learning the difference between right and wrong and having a series of life examples. I mean, we were taught just through childhood play with the other kids in the neighborhood. You know, the other kids were cruel, and they would embarrass you. They would cut you down and show you absolutely no mercy, even at home. You know, like I said, oftentimes when you do something very good, you know, it was still not good enough, or if you ever really actually got really good at something and you felt good about yourself, you know, you're starting to build a little bit of confidence. They thought you were getting conceited and that you had to be brought down a few pegs. Nothing was ever good enough, ever. And that made us tougher. But I think these young people today, I don't think nobody was ever tough on them whatsoever. When you can't line up 2 pieces of bread to make a sandwich, and you don't know enough to put the mashed potatoes in a proper storage container. I mean, these are just very basic things that, I mean, really you shouldn't have to be told. But they lack something. I don't know. Either they something wrong with them or something wrong with their upbringing. They weren't taught. I don't know. I don't know where we went wrong, but we as a society have gone to hell in a handbasket. And then there's all this, you know, like you said about the posturing of kindness and you know, motioning people through when they come to a 4-way stop. You know, I was the last one to come to a complete stop, but everybody's motioning me on through. I was the last one to come to a complete stop, therefore should be the last one to move. But yet everyone's motioning everyone else through, because they want to feel good about themselves and pat themselves on the back and I don't know. So they can feel good about themselves, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, it's all stemming out of ignorance, in my opinion. My very strong opinion is that it's all ignorance. Anyway, I guess that's all I got to say.
That is hilarious. Yeah, I mean, that started with that was all triggered by my rant about somebody that had misaligned bread. Had a sandwich at work, and the bread was pointing in 2 opposite directions. What the hell's that? What kind of disorderly life do you live if you can't even align the bread on a sandwich? I mean, is that ridiculous? Or am I the one that's being ridiculous? Anyway, so there's a lot there. So this guy brings a big gallon sack, like a bag of mashed potatoes. Does he just eat it right out of the bag? Or does he at least scoop it out on like some kind of a paper plate or something? Does he eat it? Does he like feast off like a feed bag? I'd like to know more information about this. But yeah, what the hell? I don't know. You don't bring mashed potatoes in a bag to work. And so in such large quantity. It sounds ridiculous. I used to work with a guy back when I first started working where I work now, which is in 2007, if you can believe it. There was one of those bodybuilder guys, you know, he's all beefed up, wearing those stupid shirts with the spaghetti straps and all that stuff. Like, get that, put on a regular shirt. I don't want to see any of that. Yeah, I'm seeing way too much of this guy's body, you know. But he used to bring a big old freezer bag full of egg whites. And he'd sit at his desk, and he would, you know, every once in a while he'd crack the seal on that thing. It smelled like you're in the whole place just smelled like a giant fart. Like you're in some kind of a fartatorium, you know? And, it was disgusting. The guy's over there like slurping those egg whites out of a big freezer bag, and the whole area where he sat smelled like just a perpetual fartatorium. And you know, I mean, I don't know how else you would transport egg whites, but mashed potatoes are not. You're right, Tim. Mashed potatoes are not, you know, traditionally transported via the bag. They're usually in some kind of Tupperware or Tupperware adjacent container with a lid on it. You're right. That would irritate me too. and about how we were never allowed to, we don't get our self-esteem when we were raised. Well, the other kids were, they're, terrible monsters, cruel. The mockery never stopped. But even in our house, it wasn't mockery really. It's just you weren't allowed to, don't start feeling too good about yourself. All right, that shit can't stand. If you start to, I remember I hit a home run one time, and it wasn't Little League. It was like the minor league. It was like the league right before Little League. I crushed one, hit one over the center fielder's head, and there was no wall, it just rolled. So it just rolled and rolled and rolled, and I ran around all the four bases, and I felt good about that. I hit a home run, and I felt pretty good about that. And I heard my dad go, "Yeah, he thinks he's Babe Ruth." So all right, there you go. Well, I guess my feeling good about myself is that's over. I don't know. So yeah, you're right. I don't know. I think that my kids know a whole lot, but we coddled them too. We made mistakes with them. They did not have the same childhood as we did. We tried to make their lives free of any kind of pain, emotional pain. That's not good for them. And we're not perfect. I think a whole generation of people, and then you see this stuff. It turns into something else where they're unable to live their lives, without it being a gigantic, just a big problem. Everything's a big problem. Every little bump in the road is a catastrophe. It wasn't a catastrophe for me because I'd already had many bumps in the road. At home, I had bumps in the road. Not just not in the real world. Our kids didn't have any bumps in the road. Not really. We tried to shield them from. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. I admit to doing the same thing, but I work with some young people too, and they're in a lot of them. I'm not going to paint with a broad brush, but a lot of them are unable to do the simplest things without it turning into a calamity, send them spiraling. But anyway, I hear what you're saying, Tim, and the posturing of kindness. Yeah, I went off on that about that too. There's an order to the world. People need to just keep moving. If you're driving a car and you're driving through a parking lot, just drive. I'm not saying run over an old lady. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying just keep moving, and the people on foot will adjust to that. They'll slide in behind you. If everybody's slamming on their brakes, and then you're slamming on your brakes while you're walking, nobody's moving. In the old days, the people in the car had the right of way. People on foot adjusted to that, and it worked. There was always constant motion. Now there's a lot of people uneasy, and like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Irritating. That was hilarious. Thanks for calling, Tim. Call back. And I want more information. Does he eat the taters straight out of the sack, or does he scoop them out and eat them? I need more information. This next call is from our old pal Ian in Scotland, and here it is.
I once worked in public health. This is maybe 10 years ago, and I was at a community event, and this young woman came up to me, gasped, went, "Oh my God," grabbed my arm, said, "Come here," pulled me through to a friend in another room, and said to her, "Do you not think that he looks like a fat Kevin Bacon?" To which I was lost for words. There you go. Fat Kevin Bacon. Also, your list of top 10 TV programmes, I was surprised that The Littlest Hobo didn't make an appearance on that, since it's the best kids programme ever made. It's got The Littlest Hobo, London, the dog, the meta canine, who just roams about, does his own thing, goes from town to town, but chooses to solve crimes and help people out. And often breaking up Soviet spy rings and the like. Great TV. Mike Myers appears in his first TV role in episode 10, I think, The Boy on Wheels, which is about a kid in a wheelchair.
A fat Kevin Bacon. That's not nice. I've seen pictures of you, Ian. If you think you're fat, or if somebody thinks you're fat, I don't know what they're gonna think of me, because you're not fat. You're in the all the karate and all that. Anyway, fat Kevin Bacon. I wouldn't care for that. Kevin Bacon. One of the rules of thumb, I think one of the original rules of thumb, the Surf Report rules of thumb is, if you make fun of Kevin Bacon too much, your nose will stay that way. So you can make of that what you want. He has one of those noses that you can just stand straight in front of him and look straight up his nostrils. His nostrils are his nose is turned up on the end, and you can just look straight into his nostrils. So if you make fun of Kevin Bacon too much, your nose will stay that way. All right. I wouldn't care for that. I've never heard of The Littlest Hobo, but that sounds good. I'm going to check it out. It's probably on YouTube, right? I don't know anything about that. I'm not familiar with it, so that wasn't on my list. But I liked the way you described it. I'll check it out. There's a lot of great TV shows that are bizarre like that. Did you ever see Get a Life with Chris Elliott? That's a great one too. I can't believe that was ever on television. How the hell was that on TV, on network TV? Crazy. Thanks for calling, Ian. I have another call from Ian as well, and here it is.
Hello? Is this the West Virginia Sandwich Alignment Hotline? Hey, Jeff. See you in Scotland. I am en route to the US of A. Leaving my house, staying over at my girlfriend's, getting on a plane tomorrow, flying to Boston, changing planes, and then flying down to Richmond to be picked up in a vehicle and taken to Williamsburg, Virginia. So yeah, as usual, I should have had this done ages ago, but I'm looking for some tips. Things I must do while I'm there are Cracker Barrel and Chick-fil-A. Other than that, I'm going to go tap rooms and breweries and all sorts. If you can think of anything that I need to do, I must do while I'm in Virginia, or even in DC, because I'm going up there for the weekend. My sister asked me, what do you want to do when you're in DC? And I said, I want to go and see the steps that featured at the end of The Exorcist. That's my must-see in Washington, DC. But if you think of it, or your avid listeners can think of anything else, I'm coming back on the 14th, so you've got time to put out a request for me, if you'd be so kind, on top tips for a Scotsman to do in the USA. I'm not wearing a kilt. My girlfriend banned me from taking my kilt because it would turn me into the centre of what she would deem unwanted attention. So that's that. Superpowers I would like to have. There's only one real superpower, and that is the power of flight. Like Superman type flight. Not just like flapping your arms like a moth. That wouldn't do at all. Superman type flight. Fast flight. Yeah, nothing else. Like setting people's cars on fires. It's surprisingly anarchistic for you, I thought, but hang on, I'm in traffic here. This guy's an idiot. Anyway, yeah, superpower flight, that's it. Okay, mate, that's me driving behind an idiot now on a road in Scotland. I'll stay tuned to your podcast. Have a think. Let me know what you deem necessary. Okay, keep up the work. Bye.
So Ian, as we record this, Ian is already in the US of A. He's already gone to Washington, D.C. He's here for a few more days. It sounds like things are going great. I've been following his adventures on Instagram. He's texted me a few times. And it sounds like he's having a good trip. As far as tips for things to do, yes, you hit a couple of the big ones. Cracker Barrel, Chick-fil-A. I would suggest you go to both of those things. I remember when I used to listen to Clive Bull, who has a radio talk show. He's a radio talk show host in London. He was coming years ago. This is years ago, but he was coming to America. He was going to come to the United States, and he's going to bring his kids and his wife and everything. The whole family's coming over. And one of the things that they were wanting to do, they were super excited to do, and I found this to be hilarious. They wanted to go through a Taco Bell drive-through. He kept talking about that. When we go to America, one of the first things we want to do is to go through a Taco Bell drive-through. And when he came back, he was talking about how I guess they drove down south somewhere. I can't remember the details, but they rented a car and they drove down south. And they said that there was all kinds of religious radio stuff on the radio, like preachers and religious radio, and that blew their minds. And he also had some kind of little altercation in a restaurant when they didn't tip enough. They didn't leave the big American tip. They left the traditional UK tip. And he said the guy actually said something to him about it. He goes, "Was there a problem with the service?" He goes, "No, why? What do you mean?" "Well, I just saw the tip that you left, and I was just wondering if you were dissatisfied." The guy actually called him out. He was going off about that too. I don't really have any other tips. I mean, drink some of our craft beer. People used to make fun of American beer. They used to mock it and say it was trash and garbage. Rightly so. But now there's a wealth of incredible American craft beer. American beer can no longer be mocked. Some of the best in the world. Try that. Go to Cracker Barrel. Make sure they have ice in your sweet tea. Insist on it. I could have been a little bit more insistent, and instead I get fuming mad and then go on a podcast and bitch about it. So handle that how you want. And you can buy something in the store. They have a store there at the Cracker Barrel, the old country store. You check that out too. There's some good stuff in there. Chick-fil-A. I don't know. It's good stuff. You got to go there too. I don't know what else to do. I mean, have you gone to Colonial Williamsburg? I wouldn't. I went there as a kid, and when you're 12 years old, it's not super exciting to see some lady churning butter, seeing some guy like making horseshoes. I mean, whatever. I mean, these people are, see somebody is standing there churning like a butter churn, just I don't know. This is not as good as Kings Island. It's not as good as when we go to to a Reds game, you know. I mean, whatever. Have you been there? Did you go to that place, Colonial Williamsburg? Anyway, that's where your sister lives. Anyway, I hope you're having a great time. Your superpower is flight. That's a good one. I kind of like the catching somebody's car on fire. I want to be able to have the ability to catch somebody's anarchist. He's called me an anarchist, surprisingly anarchist. I'm not trying to make any kind of point as far as not trying to overthrow the government or anything. I just want to punish people who, you know, I want to punish people who, like you said, you're right behind some guy right now over in when you record this over in Scotland. You don't have the urge to set his engine on fire just by thinking about it. I think that'd be a great, wonderful superpower. Anyway, thank you, Ian, for both calls. Thank you, Tim, for calling in. And that goes. You guys call anytime you want. It goes for the rest of you too. The number 570-290-8151. And I hope you enjoyed this random notes episode. I don't know. It's hard for me to judge, but I hope you got some laughs out of there. I know there was a bunch of bitching and complaining about stupid stuff. That's what I do. Hang on a second. Got a little... Ooh. That was a little exaggerated. Anyway, if you want... I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want 2 of these a week instead of a measly one, I can tell you how you can do it. You can head on over to patreon.com. It's Patreon, patreon.com/JeffK. Sign up for a $4 or more monthly donation, and you'll get an extra episode every week, or at least every time I post one to the main network. There's a few days later, there's one for patrons only. So if you set it up, put it on a credit card, it comes out every month. It costs $4, and you get double. You double down on the Surf Report podcast, and that's good value. So do it today. Patreon.com/JeffK and surfreportpod.com is the web home of the podcast. Check that out as well. And I think we're at the end of this thing. It's a little long. This is a long one. So hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, which will be over on the Patreon side, hope you guys have yourselves a fine, fine day. I'll see you. Bye. Fill that bitch up with ices.